I met my boyfriend last August through a dating app. It started casually, no pressure, no expectations. At first, we just chatted here and there, getting to know each other slowly. I wasn't looking for anything serious. Honestly, I wasn't even sure if he'd be interested in me long term. I was okay with the idea of just being friends or keeping things casual, so I didn't think much about where it might go. It felt good to talk to someone new, especially someone who seemed to get me. As time passed, though, something shifted. There was a subtle connection between us that I couldn't ignore. He was funny, easygoing, and he made me laugh. But when he opened up about his past, I didn't expect it. He casually told me that he once made out with a coworker who was already married with 2 kids. He said it happened when he was drunk. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Everyone makes mistakes, right? Who was I to judge? I was still getting to know him, and I wasn't ready to make any conclusions about his character. Besides, he was being honest about it, and that mattered to me. Then, as if that wasn't enough, he told me they had hooked up again, this time sober. I was stunned. It was hard to wrap my head around it. The woman, who was 10 years older than him, was 35, and he was only 25. He said that she had a thing for him, and he had a crush on her too, even though she was married. He explained it like it was no big deal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to it. It wasn't just a drunken mistake anymore. It felt more like something deliberate, something he had acted on. Despite my discomfort, I tried to push it to the back of my mind. Maybe it was his past, something that didn't define who he was now. But as the days went by, I started feeling more conflicted. Why was he telling me this? Why was he sharing such intimate details about a woman who was clearly important to him? I didn't know the answer, but it stuck with me. Then came that night in September. He invited me to the movies, and we decided to meet up after he finished work. We were late, and the movie wasn't great, but it didn't matter. It wasn't about the film, it was about spending time together. Afterward, we decided to take a walk, and that's when he suggested we check into a hotel. I wasn't expecting it, but the idea seemed exciting? Spontaneous? I don't know. I didn't want to leave him alone, so I agreed. At the hotel, things felt light. We talked, played a mobile game, and just relaxed. But the night took a turn. One thing led to another, and we ended up having sex. It wasn't planned, but it felt good, comfortable, even. Afterward, we both fell asleep, exhausted. The next morning, he woke me up early. He had to go to work, so we quickly packed up and left. It felt like an abrupt end to the night. He hugged me goodbye, and I walked away thinking that maybe this was just a one-time thing. I didn't expect him to reach out to me afterward. It felt like the kind of thing that just faded into memory. But then, to my surprise, he messaged me once he got to work. It was such a simple thing, but it hit me differently. Why would he message me? Was he just being polite, or was he actually thinking about me? Maybe I wasn't just a fling to him. Over time, we grew closer. We saw each other more often, and things between us started feeling more serious. Eventually, we made it official. He became my boyfriend, and I couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and uncertainty. I didn't know everything about him, and I started to wonder if I should know more. So, like anyone curious about their partner, I dug a little deeper into his social media. That's when I found something that made my stomach drop, something I didn't expect. Every time his coworker posted a picture, he would leave a red heart. At first, I thought maybe they were just close friends, but the more I watched, the more it seemed like something more. It wasn't just occasional, a simple comment here or there, it was a habit. It was constant. I couldn't ignore it anymore. It felt too personal, too intimate. I tried to push these thoughts aside, telling myself I was overreacting. After all, I had no right to control his friendships, right? But the feeling didn't go away. I couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was off. My heart told me that there was more to the story than he was letting on. In December, I finally confronted him. I couldn't keep ignoring my gut instincts. I'd brought up the story about his coworker and how uncomfortable it made me. I couldn't stop thinking about it, especially since it had happened twice, and both times they were sober. He told me that things got awkward after the second hookup, so he started avoiding her. I wanted to believe him. I tried to. But a part of me felt like there was something he wasn't saying. It didn't make sense. If things had gotten awkward, why were they still in contact? Why did he still comment on her pictures? I didn't have answers. On December 28th, I invited him to my cousin's 18th birthday party. I wanted him to be a part of my life, to meet my family. I wanted him to show me that he was invested in us. But at the party, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. While I was busy with the entourage, I noticed that he wasn't paying attention to me. Instead, he was on his phone, scrolling through it like I wasn't even there. It bothered me more than I wanted to admit. Why wasn't he engaging with me? I had introduced him to my family, and yet he seemed completely disinterested in my life. In January, we met up for another date. We ended up having sex again, and afterward, we both fell asleep. But around 3 a.m., I woke up with a sense of dread. I felt something wasn't right. I couldn't shake the feeling. My mind raced. I had to know. I had to look through his phone. It felt like a violation, but I couldn't stop myself. I was desperate for answers. What I found confirmed my worst fears. He was still texting her. He had told her that she was getting prettier, and his words felt loaded with more than just casual compliments. They were intimate, familiar. He had even made sure to tell her that he wasn't drunk this time, so he wasn't lying. The truth stung like a slap in the face. I didn't confront him right away. Instead, I decided to gather more evidence. I went through our past conversations, before we even became official, and found the messages where he had told me about his hookups with her. I couldn't stop myself from analyzing everything. It felt like a puzzle, and I needed to put all the pieces together. I kept digging. I searched for her birthday on her social media and, after some time, found a post with the hashtag number 36. It clicked. She was born in 1988. That meant she was 35 when they hooked up, and I remembered him telling me that she was 10 years older than him. The math added up, and I knew he had been telling me the truth about their age difference. But it didn't feel reassuring. It felt like a trap that had been set all along. Then I checked his social media account. He had given me the login details, but when I went through his messages with her, everything was gone. All of their sweet exchanges, all of the affectionate messages, had been deleted. Not unsent. Completely erased. He had covered his tracks before giving me access. I had taken screenshots of their conversations when I had gone through his phone before, and I knew what he had done. Now I'm at a crossroads. I don't know what to do. I feel so lost. Every time I try to confront him, he brushes it off. He thinks I'm looking for a fight, but I'm not. I'm just trying to understand what's going on. Valentine's Day is coming up, and I don't even know where we stand anymore. I've given so much to this relationship, emotionally, financially. I've invested so much in him, in us, but now I'm not sure if it's worth it. I'm afraid of leaving, but I'm also afraid of staying. I don't want to fall back into old patterns that destroyed me before. I want to make the right choice, but I'm so scared. I feel like I've been in this situation before, but I didn't have the courage to walk away. Now I'm not sure if I'm strong enough to do it again. It feels like leaving would hurt just as much as staying, maybe even more. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid of the future, of the choices I'll have to make, but I need to figure this out before I lose myself completely. I'm sharing this here because I don't know where else to turn. I'm hurting, and I just need someone to tell me I'm not crazy. I need help. What should I do? Do I confront him again, or do I finally walk away?